Sarah and Josh, mother and son, they want to leave their German life behind. But Eric Kinch has other ideas and will hunt down Sarah Wolf. He knows that she has something on him and he will go to great lengths. But unfortunately for him, there is a highly trained Sarah Wolf. Exterritorial is a Netflix original from Germany. It was written and directed by Christian Zubert, who's done German films in the past. No, not those kind of German films, but if you're into that sort of thing, don't tell me. There's something absolutely wrong with you. Check out his IMDb page for the full list of his work. This stars Jean Gozaud. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, I do apologize. She was in the 1517 to Paris, and she plays Sarah Wolf, who is a former soldier that has PTSD from her time in Afghanistan. We find out a little bit more why through flashbacks and a tipping point early on that tells us exactly who is behind this whole goddamn thing. And she has a son, Josh! No, we don't have the Blair Witch Project budget, or ingenuity, or writing, or acting. No, we just have a bunch of terrible action scenes taking place at the U.S. Consulate in Germany. And basically Sarah and her son Josh are trying to just leave their life behind and go reconnect with Josh's side of the family because, well, Josh's dad was American. He was killed in Afghanistan, and naturally Sarah has some guilt over that. So we do get to the U.S. Consulate pretty goddamn quickly. I do have to say, by the way, Jean is actually a very lovely actress and certainly tries her best and certainly put her best effort into this. Even if the action scenes weren't all that great, I blame that on Netflix and the overall production, which seemed to be shoddy at best. But Eric Kinch, played by Doug Ray Scott, and when Doug Ray Scott is your most big-name actor in a 2025 film, that's not good. Nothing against the guy. He's a talented actor, but his most famous roles, at least on a mainstream basis, were Ever After and Mission Impossible 2. 1997 and 2000. I mean, he's been in other stuff, and again, he's not a bad actor, but come on. So, while Sarah is checking herself and her son in, they end up kind of being, given the runaround, waiting for their trip to be approved. And then, basically, Josh ends up missing when she goes to put him in a playroom area, and then she must solve this mystery before her life is history. Exterritorial tales, woohoo. So you seen Flight Plan? Well, this is a grounded version of that. Basically all goddamn is. And unfortunately, Flight Plan had its issues, but at least it had Jodie Foster. I have nothing against the actors in this for trying their best. There's nothing wrong with taking a trope, a plot that has been done before, and trying to put a different spin on it. But the thing is, this movie is so lazy and shoddily put together with some of the most generic and just bargain basement fight scenes. I'm not even saying like they didn't try for the stunts. I'm not even saying they didn't lay the shit in. But there were also bad edits that proved that even if they were laying a few things in, there were parts where it looked like she was hitting some forearms on guys that would have made the fans of AEW and New Japan say, wow, that's certainly stuff they're not laying in at all. But I digress. That's a deep cut for wrestling fans. She does end up meeting a woman named Irina, played by the very lovely Lara Abova, who was in Anna, and my God, I need to rewatch Anna because I actually forgot that Sasha Los actually used to be in good movies before she was in Latency. If you have not seen Latency, don't. Just fucking don't. Also, maybe don't bother with Exterritorial unless you are going to, get with friends and have a little bit of fun. The thing is, the movie isn't actually that bad as a concept. Generic action movies are fine. But see, Rebel Ridge was something that Netflix did right. Netflix has done other things right, and there have been some foreign action movies and foreign movies in general. Lost Bullet, which apparently they have done 3 of those. I didn't know. I saw the first one, and that's it. The whole point is you can get something good out of a well-worn, concept where you're just squeezing every bit of pulp out of it. The thing is, though, this is just basically a basic plot, nothing really of note, and also overstays its welcome despite the fact I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes before the credits roll. And yes, there's a little story of PTSD haunting somebody And, that could have been something that could have led her to this. It could have led her to snapping. She's there, and maybe this is all in her head. Maybe she's not happy, not feeling bad. She's got sunshine in a bag, and Josh is useless, but not for long because he's missing, but it's going on. Did that make sense? No, it really didn't. In fact, a lot of this movie doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's just illogical from, like, a standpoint where these guards are terrible. The other people are... I mean, we find out why pretty early on what's going on. And then we get a twist that really was easy to figure out initially. And again, really besides the chemistry between Jean, or Jean, or however you say that, and Lyra, that's really about the only, good point. Plus, they are both attractive women, so that doesn't hurt either. That being said, the movie pretty much just ends up being painfully generic. It is on Netflix if you want to check it out. Let's get into a few spoilers. A few spoilers as there are. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So, there is a video that she has sent early on that is from a journalist that is trying to crack this case of, basically what happened in Afghanistan that led to an ambush that led to her entire platoon, except her, being killed. And, yeah, Josh is gone briefly. That's a bit of a tease that Josh is going to be gone soon after. She lost her husband. She's dealing with all this. The kid's American. She's trying to figure this stuff out. There is a little part early on in a park where this one guy accidentally bumps into her when she has PTSD, seeing a helicopter, and she beats him up. There are worse ways to go. I just want to say that. And this is why you don't leave your kid alone, because he ends up getting kidnapped. And I'm just going to spoil it because, A, I'm in the spoiler section, and fuck you, it is Eric Kinch that is responsible for this. Because he has ties to the ambush, because the video that was released a little bit later on, or that was shown a little bit later on in more detail, excuse me, is it shows that Eric was, talked to one of the members of the Taliban or whatever it was supposed to be that led to the ambush because he was upset that his government shoved him aside. I think that's what it was. I actually stopped caring very early on, so if I miss any finer the details of the plot, I don't care. So she won't leave until she finds Josh. And even though she gets in fights and everything, and they could have easily jailed her, Eric decides he doesn't want to actually jail her because she knows his secret, and he wants to keep her close by. So she calls her mom for help. Her mom's asking if she's taking her pills because of all the stuff that she's gone through. I wrote down scene flight plan. Well, this is basically just a grounded version of that, literally, because it barely leaves the ground, except one point when Sarah manages to escape, manages to get in a disguise, get out the window, climb on the AC units, and jump, and didn't listen to Van Halen, fell down. Really bad Netflix CGI. That's one thing I've noticed about them. The open window, I mean, granted, it was just like all glass. I mean, it's not like she was running a bunch of open windows, but it's see-through glass. It's not like two-way glass, so you can see that this woman is trying to be like Spider-Man or Gwen Stacy or whatever the fuck we're going with. She recovers after bouncing off the goddamn, stairs or balcony, whatever. And then she ends up in a room where she runs into Irina. And the instant I saw Lyra, or however you say her name, my God, what a lovely woman she is. She's a Russian woman of some variety who had a dad that was in in the Russian politics, switched to the good side. I guess there is a good side of Russian politics that apparently gets snuffed out. She has a thumb drive proving that there's corruption going on in Russia, which we know about that, but nevertheless. So the PTSD kicks in. So the idea is Kinch and also Deborah, who is like the leader of the U.S. Consulate, a really bad leader, I do want to say, buys into way too much of Kinch's shit. And they show video, and it's magic. And I'm with you. No, it's not the cars. It shows that basically Sarah does not have Josh there. It turns out the video was actually edited by Kitch later on. There is also something that Sarah witnessed a bag being handed off by a guy that I will describe as German Will Ospreay. I think he's actually American, but I'm just going to call him German Will Ospreay because it's funnier. And maybe Josh saw it, or whatever. Josh is basically just away for the rest of the movie. So Irina and her end up basically battling some guys in a bathroom, or in her little apartment area that they have at the U.S. Consulate. She got zip-tied, Irina did, so Sarah had to go it alone, beat one guy with the top of a toilet, and these fight scenes are terrible. I mean, I'm saying, the way they're shot, they're terrible. It's not even like, again, it's not even like the stunts are the worst. It's just the way they are shot that's terrible. So, flashbacks of her meeting her husband, Sarah that is. No audio, because why would we want that plot? Why would we want that explained? So, it turns out that, she actually did have Josh, and that this is all edited, and this is all trying to get her basically to drive her mad, look insane, and that way Kitsch could get off scot-free. So, Irina basically ends up helping her, and then at one point, they run into German Will Ospreay, where they get the floor plan, and they get a key drive to go through all this stuff. And she beats him up in a bathroom stall. There are worse ways to be treated. I do in a bathroom stall. I will say that. This is very stupid. The movie that is. And it turns out, Kitsch just did all this just because. I mean, not exactly a deep plot, not exactly a good plot, but it's fine. Irina ends up basically being sent away as a way to write her off, because I guess they couldn't afford to have her in this film anymore. Or she had to go do other things, like literally anything else. And then she gets in a fight with Doug Ray Scott in a pool. Ends up hitting him, and he's the only one that knows where Josh is. So you kill me, he'll starve. Whatever. So there's this one guy, Sergeant Donovan. I'm not going to try to say the actor's name. No disrespect, but I would probably totally butcher it. He's fine. The acting isn't... The cast isn't even the worst. I mean, the acting isn't all that great, but the cast is not that bad. But it turns out Kitsch also has a daughter, Aileen. And Aileen had a little toy like a Tamagotchi toy or something that records. More on that in a bit. Her and Irina found that before she sent Irina away. She gets Aileen to go to a safe room where she basically is trying to get Kitsch to confess. She releases the daughter. He ends up shooting her, and he ends up shooting himself to make it look like that. So, oh no. And he turned off the button so it wouldn't be recorded. Nobody could hear this stuff because everybody else is outside the room, including the guy's wife. But then, just to conceal what he did and everything, and just to make her take the blame because of what the military did to him. I mean, it's like, I don't mind a simple explanation, but to go through all this, well, anyway, flashbacks, and it seems like she's totally done. Totally goddamn done, but oh no. It turns out that actually she did record him on the little toy of the daughter that she kept. Kept in that room for a bit, but she kept the toy. So that's a confession right there on a little Tamagotchi recorder. And they find Josh. A few weeks later, they're going to go off to goddamn America. And she talks to Irina. I guess Irina's safe, and yeah, that is Exterritorial. It's terrible. It's really, really terrible. Very generic. Very boring. Very German, very boring. German movies are actually pretty good, but this one isn't. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. By the way, F, just in case you couldn't guess. So, I'm John Rickland, and I'll see you soon.